Hey, I'm Shawn. This is another episode of Dangerous Ideas. We break down concepts and frameworks that will change your life. Hey everybody, another episode of Dangerous Ideas. Happy New Year to you. If you are new to this pod, in this pod, Dangerous Ideas, what we do is we break down concepts and frameworks that will change your life. Change your business, change your career, but most importantly, change your life. My name is Shawn, and I am so excited to be here in the new year. This is our first episode in the new year, and I'm really excited to bring back Niamh to the pod. Niamh,
thanks
hello.
for having me.
Our producer of this pod, back on the pod, second time running, and I thought it'd be really cool if we just chatted about our experience. We just went to San Diego. We will drop some dangerous ideas, obviously throughout the pod, but in this particular piece, talking about San Diego. But we just had this experience where we went down to San Diego for this PCMA conference. It's for event organizers and leaders across the world, 5,000 people. A really prestigious spot because I was keynoting right after Hillary and Bill Clinton. And I have some key takeaways that I have from the Clintons. I have some dangerous ideas from my time with the Clintons. But Niamh, I want to come to you and say, hey, just overall, going to San Diego, seeing the Clintons. We also saw Boys to Men.
Yeah.
What was the vibe? How did you like it? How'd you like the experience?
It was really fun. I really liked, that was my first time going to San Diego.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to just walk around, see what's going on over there. First time also being in the same room as the president. So
Yes.
That was cool too. I didn't think that their talk would be super interesting to me just because I'm not really well versed in U.S. politics or anything, but it actually was very interesting. And then the Boys to Men concert was really fun too.
Well, tell me what was interesting about the Clintons.
They just seemed so normal.
Yeah.
Way more normal than I thought they would.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just looking for my little thing. No, definitely. I think they were definitely normal, Hillary and Bill. It was, and I'll just get to the dangerous idea already, which is speak with simplicity. The greatest insight that I got watching Bill and Hillary Clinton, two of the most iconic people on the planet, is that they didn't overcomplicate. Mm-hmm. They spoke very simply to the audience. And I think that's just how they carry themselves in their real life and how they interact with everyone. People understand them. And at the end of the presentation, Holly Ransom, who was the moderator, asked President Bill Clinton, what is the one takeaway, for this audience going into 2024? And his one thing was clarity. Be very clear around what you want, very clear around your explanations and how you explain problems. And it was incredible because it's that's basically my main insight, watching them, is that they were very clear around their solutions and how they thought. And, for me, it's I listen to many thought leaders, elites, people that are, whether they're on YouTube or podcasts or just in the culture. And some people speak with such intense vocabulary that it just loses people. And I'm a simpleton, and I just want things clear. And I think that's the reason why they have resonated on a grander level, is because of that simplicity.
Yeah, I think without making it clear, it also leaves more room for people to misinterpret what you might mean in either way. And I would agree. I think also based on how they spoke about their family and things, it seems like they're very down to earth and aren't trying to make things more than they are.
Yeah,
essentially.
Exactly. So that was the dangerous idea. I think the other takeaways from my observation of Bill and Clinton and Hillary Clinton, we'll get to some of the fun stuff too, is number one, Bill had this book on stage, and I'm so choked that he didn't have the bold ones on stage, but he had a book called How Minds Change. Mm-hmm. He was just hawking this book.
Yeah.
For like 5,000 people. He was hawking this book on how minds change. And I found that very cool that the president was interested in this idea of how do we get more people to change their mindset, their perspective, which is what we're trying to do on this pod. So really cool. Second insight was, and maybe it was the theme of their talk, was like, how do you disagree with one another? It's like, how do you have a conversation with somebody without like, inputting your like, I don't know, just like, how do you disagree with somebody?
Yeah.
How do you have a conversation with somebody? That was my second insight. Number 3, I just have to talk about the Secret Service there. Like, it was wild. I don't know if you were taking a look at this, but like, I was like looking around the room to see how many Secret Service there were.
Yeah.
I think I counted like at least 10.
Oh,
at least 10.
There was probably at least like 20 more backstage too.
Yeah, like it was wild how many people, like even on stage, there's one guy sort of right behind. There was probably another guy on the other side. Obviously,
Yeah.
we were on one side, and there's 2 people in the front. It was crazy. And the reason why it's crazy to me is because you remember when we were traveling with Stephen Harper, you were in the back in Vancouver, and Harper was just like there. There was like no security with him. There was one chief of staff. And then I remember when I was taking a flight from Calgary to Vancouver, the guy was sitting right behind me.
Yeah.
And he was in this Calgary lounge, like the Air Canada lounge. He was waiting for his bag, like every other pleb like me. And he was just, there was no security around Harper.
Yeah.
Yet with the Clintons, and mind you that Stephen Harper was the prime minister, was just the prime minister, and President Bill Clinton was the president ages ago, like 20 years ago, 25 years ago, and he still had that much security on him. It was just wild.
Yeah, I feel like I remember you being able, I think you talked to Stephen Harper before he went on stage.
We actually recorded something.
Yeah.
Which is kind of wild too. Like, what if I had something on me?
Yeah. I mean, there was more security around like Trevor Noah than there was around Stephen Harper.
Oh, 100%. 100%. What was the difference? Did you, okay, now that you've obviously when you came down to Colorado when we did Trevor Noah last year, and now the Clintons, what's your perspective of how they treat their celebrities and how they treat non-celebrities?
It's interesting for sure. Like, I understand why they need that security, especially like in the States, things are different there. But it was interesting to see like the security guards let us in the back this time, even though they weren't really supposed to. You just had to say you were a speaker.
Well, they let you in. I mean, you didn't even have a good credential.
Showed up.
You just showed up to the back.
Yeah. So like if the Clintons weren't there and it was just you back there and someone wanted to come say hi, they probably really easily could have. So I don't know. Just.
And to be fair, like we could have chatted with Trevor Noah, but that was like a weird situation because they were angry with us and stuff like that. Anyway,
Yeah.
That's another conversation. But it's funny that even though I'm the headliner, this has happened on both occasions, that even though I'm the headliner, when there is a massive celebrity, I immediately become the pleb. Now, don't get me wrong, they treated me really well, but I'm just saying like they were like,
it's almost like
different.
you're like part of the crew and then they're like on another level.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, but for me, I think it was really cool just to have that experience. To me, that was like the biggest stage in terms of levity that I've been on. Obviously, because you're following the Clintons on the main stage, and also just the people in the room. Like everybody in the room is like an event organizer and leader. So like I felt the pressure, really, even though it was a short presentation. I certainly felt the pressure, and the one insight that people kept coming back with was obviously a great presentation, but the slides, they were like the imagery, the slides, like what was going on in the background, and like it's happened multiple times where like people like want to hire you afterwards. They're like, okay, hi, are you like available for this? And what do you think it is that like just mesmerizes people with the slides?
I think it's the fact that they're video slides. Like there's always movement, whether it's the thing in the background or the text. Because I feel like everyone is so used to seeing the same like standard PowerPoint decks from everyone else. And no one's complaining about it. So no one else has taken the steps to put in the effort to make them cooler. But then once someone does, it's like, they can't believe it's PowerPoint.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what we've done with all our big keynotes with those huge stages, like just taking the time to customize it, to make it look incredible, to just maximize the real estate, it makes a world of a difference. It makes a world of a difference. And you can see these people are literally like event organizers and leaders, and they're like asking questions like, okay, how did you do that? How much time did it spend? What was the investment, etc.? And it just makes such a difference. And I don't know why people don't do it. It's crazy.
Yeah, like it's obviously extra work, but it's so worth it in the end.
Totally. So last thing from our San Diego trip was we went to go see Boyz II Men. They were part of the conference evening event. We went. Now, Boyz II Men is a little bit past my generation. I mean, it's way past your generation. But did you enjoy yourself?
Yeah, it was good. I only knew 2 songs, but still really good time. They sounded really good.
Hey, they sounded incredible. I thought they would be boring too, but I texted Deepa and told her that, you know, I saw Boyz II Men. She was like, I love Boyz II Men. I'm like, that's not even your era.
My mom said the same thing.
Your mom was into it?
Yeah.
I wonder if your mom is more in that era.
I think so.
Yeah. I think it's like more, if I was like 47, I feel like that's like the era. That's like the Boyz II Men, like peak era. And yeah. But anyways, it was wild to see, wild to be on the card, super grateful. And just like, yeah, it was definitely just to be on that bill was pretty crazy. I think the other thing that I learned throughout this experience was that at the end of the day, when it comes to this idea of perception, it certainly, I don't know, it's just like, I don't know if you feel this way, like where, let's say something big happens in your life and then the halo around you gets a little hotter. I think we talked about with Adam, like when Bitcoin is high, people around you start to be a little friendlier to you. They start asking, hey, are you available for coffee? Are you free? Can we have a chat? Can you come on my podcast? And I definitely felt after this whole like Clinton experience that like you can see people come out of the woodwork and they want to like connect. They want to come on a pod. They want to go for coffee. It happens all the time.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to like clout chasing. Like,
I feel like people are not even doing it for clout, like because they may not be even flexing it. Mm-hmm. It's just like I don't know what it is.
Just it's like. It gives you something more interesting to you that they're like, oh, that's
like they can get something from me or something.
Yeah. Or like just even to know you after like being on that, they're like, oh, I know someone who did this, and it's.
But let me remind everybody that I'm just a pleb. So if you're trying to get in touch with me or get in contact with me or have a coffee with me, you're not going to get any value, okay? You can watch this pod. That's where you're going to get the most value. So let me move on to the second topic, the most dangerous idea, which is something that we haven't really talked about on this pod, which is the power of gossip. The power of gossip. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because over the last couple of weeks, I've found it very interesting that in there's this interview that came out last week with this former comedian, not former, he's big time comedian, Cat Williams. He's not as relevant as he is now, but Cat Williams and Shannon Sharpe, who's another like sports analyst. I don't think you saw this, but anyways, it is actually Cat Williams just dissing a whole bunch of comedians, Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer, Kevin Hart. He's just like going off. It is now, at this moment, it is the second most watched interview in digital media history. Mm-hmm. Okay. I think number one, I think Joe Rogan still has an interview. It will be the most watched YouTube video of all time. Okay. Yeah. Oh, in terms of an interview. And you've never heard of this guy. You've never heard of Shannon Sharpe because you're not into it. This is perfect. So the reason why this video got so many clicks is because this comedian was gossiping about his counterparts, the people that were in his circle. And I found that so fascinating that is what drove the clicks. Similarly, Shannon Sharpe is friends with is on a show with this other guy, Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith is one of the biggest sports broadcast. You know who
I know who Stephen A. Smith
okay,
is.
so
I don't know who the other two are.
I'm just checking. So Stephen A. Smith was on. He has a feud with another broadcaster that you don't know, that nobody knows. His name is Jason Whitlock, and they've been having a feud. They're peers, and they've been going back and forth. Stephen A. Smith probably saw what Shannon was doing in terms of views with his Cat Williams interview. So he came on a couple days ago and went off against Jason Whitlock. And that has like views too. Again, gossiping about a counterpart. And I was doing some research about gossip and seeing the impact of gossip. So gossip can actually be a source of good in a way. I'm not just talking about clicks, okay? Mm-hmm. It obviously gets the clicks. That's what gets the views, right? But it can actually deepen your friendship with somebody else because you're sharing a secret that no one else knows. It can actually create a stronger bond with somebody else if you're sharing gossip. I don't know if you've found this in your life. You gossiping about other people have strengthened your relationship.
I would say, yeah, probably. I feel like, especially in like female relationships, a lot like not always like negative gossip, but like just being like, oh, this person's doing this. It brings out, it's just another thing to talk about.
Yeah. Well, in this study, I saw that women gossip 67% of the time, 67% versus men, 55%. And then the majority of, not the vast majority, but I think like 60 to 70% of gossip is actually negative. Mm-hmm. Right. So it's not good. And it does strengthen a relationship. So gossip is the power of gossip is that it can drive clicks and views. You can see like the most watched YouTube podcast interview of all time because of gossip with two people that the broader world has no idea of. And the other thing is it can strengthen relationships. Now, we all know the downside of gossip. It's not good to gossip.
Yeah.
It's not good to talk shit to other people, but we all do it. We all do it. And that is the power of it, and how as human beings, we are so hardwired to love listening to gossip. And it's just like innate. And it just goes back to, I don't know. It just goes back to who we are as human beings. We're hardwired for status. So gossip is a way of sort of knocking down somebody in their status. I also was reading some studies where it talks about, the reason I'm so passionate about this is because as many people know, they've been following this pod, is that I think my second book is going to be on this idea of status and how status drives innovation. So gossip is a important piece of it because gossip has to do with status at the end of the day. But it's just fascinating to see that men, like we love gossip. Men love gossip.
Yeah.
It's like that's what we're talking about in our group chats. We talk about like the bullshit. We talk about sports players and their wives. We talk about this feud between Stephen A. Smith and Jason Whitlock, or this feud between Cat Williams. It drives so many clicks, even in the WhatsApp.
Yeah.
And one of the pieces of research that I loved reading is that we tend to gossip more about the individuals that are in our sort of realm. So that means like you would gossip with people that are of your age, female, of your friend group. That's where you see most of the gossip. And that's what people, and yeah, we like to hear gossip of people that are closer to us, which makes sense, right? We need to gossip of people that are our friends, basically, at the end of the day.
Yeah, you have like personal stock in the story almost.
Yeah. I feel like growing up, my mom, maybe it's just brown culture or aunties, they love gossip. They just get on the phone and they just talk shit. That's all they do. They just talk shit about each other, right? Or they talk shit about their friends.
Yeah.
And it definitely drove their relationships. But obviously it can be bad too, right? It can destroy relationships. And I've seen people, backstab each other, or people talk like most of the time, most of the reason why people are not friends with each other is because maybe somebody talks shit about somebody else.
Yeah, I would say that's like a very big reason why people stop being friends. It's interesting.
Now, you are somebody that is very you're very to the book. So, but I would assume that, this has happened in your life.
Yeah, I've definitely had friends and lost friends over gossiping, and whether it be on either side. But it's
what
funny
about the
because
screenshot now, because we're in the era of the screenshot. What's you take an iMessage, a screenshot of iMessage, or
it's funny because I've never, if someone texts me something, I just get in this zone where I'm I'm going to reply right away, and I won't send it to my friends before, but then after I'll send it to them, and then I'm rereading what I said, and I'm
right,
maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Right.
But then my sister will always send me screen recordings of full conversations. Wow. And it almost gives you an adrenaline rush. It feels like you're in it, even though you're not.
When you see the screen recording?
Yeah, I'm this is my drama now.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know why, even though I don't even know half her friends.
Wow.
It's just.
So you just said that your sister will send you the screen recordings of her conversations with her friends.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if you should be putting that on. No, I do that all the time, by the way. I do take screenshots of my conversations with some people. And, I do have a group chat where we, it's not gossip. It's more culture stuff, I would say, mostly. It's and then I do throw it in. I'll be look at this. What does this mean?
Yeah.
And it has happened.
I would say,
it just gets crazy. You should assume that, I don't know if this is good, but you should assume that if you write something,
yeah, it
probably gets screenshotted.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
I think that's a good assumption, especially nowadays.
Maybe it's not a good assumption. I think with your close friends, you should probably trust that they're keeping that in.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the other thing is, before, I feel I would gossip more with not anyone, but just more acquaintance friends than best friends. And now I keep it to basically only two people.
Right.
And I'm I know it's not going to get anywhere, and it's not going to cause me any grief. But yeah.
Recently I was listening to a episode of Alex Earl. Alex Earl, if you don't know, is probably one of the biggest TikTokers on the planet. She's got a podcast called Hot Mess. And she was talking about, I don't know why I'm listening to these podcasts. I'm just interested in people that are shaping culture.
Yeah.
I feel she's definitely one of them. But talking about breaking up with friends and how it's worse than actually breaking up with your significant other. Mm-hmm. And I think this is part of the, you got to listen to this episode, by the way, Hot Mess. I just thought that was interesting that it cuts deep. I don't know why. It just, when you hear other people talk shit about you, especially if it's your friends, and Alex Earl mentions this, it does hurt deep.
It does. Yeah, I feel with an ex partner, it's easier to just be obviously we broke up. You're gonna end up talking about each other. But with friends, it's so much more personal because it's we were so close for so long, totally. And it's not I don't know. It's just such a different feeling.
So I guess a dangerous idea here is that you can use gossip for good. You can use gossip to strengthen a relationship, but of course you can also lose a friend. And you don't want to be known as somebody that gossips a lot because it's uncouth to do so.
Yeah.
So pick your battle. Mm-hmm. Gossip wisely, that I would say. But when it comes to views, oh my God, when it comes to views, you should definitely gossip.
Yeah, I kind of want to watch that interview now that I don't even know anyone in it.
It's incredible. The first 35 minutes of this thing, Shannon Sharp says absolutely nothing, and Kat Cat Williams just goes on a rampage for 35 minutes talking about how Kevin Hart is an industry plant, how he Cedric the Entertainer stole a joke. It's absolutely incredible to watch, and I think it's such an easy thing to get clicks for, and I wonder how do we use it? I'm just thinking, how do we use it for this pod? How do we use gossip for our pod? How do we drive clicks since it's such a dangerous idea?
I think it's just like talking about hot topics, but
yeah,
having a strong opinion on them, maybe.
Yeah.
I've recently got.
We should just do if we did a gossip pod just about Edmonton and just like
that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that.
I wouldn't want to do that. I'm just saying, hey, if anybody wants an idea of how it would drive clicks, this is a pod. It would immediately get millions of views. Okay, that's why, unfortunately, that there used to be that website, The Dirty.
Oh yeah,
which is kind of like gossip. It's an online gossip site.
Yeah.
Basically, they put a picture up, and then this is the worst. This is like the worst part of the internet, where they put a picture up of somebody, and then somebody just rants on them of how they're such a scumbag, or a slut, or whatever. It's crazy. Yeah,
they The Dirty kind of fell off when I was growing up, but then it turned into like Ask FM and all these other things. And
is The Dirty not there anymore? I don't know.
I'm sure you could still find the website, but they don't run it anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
And it I think they used it as like I can't say this for sure, but like a it's almost like blackmail.
Yeah.
So like you could pay them and they would take it off or something like that.
Probably.
I don't know. I can't confirm that, but there was a situation where I did see somebody get on The Dirty. I don't know if they're still on it, but
I know a few people have been on it.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. All right. Let's get on to the next idea. And it actually kind of relates to this idea of some of these podcasters and folks. This is something that we've been talking about on this pod probably every episode, which is the power of the individual. The idea that today one person with a mic has so much power. And a couple things I think recently that have happened, which are kind of interesting. So there's a guy named Pat McAfee. He's a sports broadcaster that ESPN basically bought his show for like $80 million. And he had Aaron Rodgers on, who's the quarterback of the Jets. Aaron Rodgers said something about Jimmy Kimmel, again, like gossip, that he was going to be on the Epstein list. And then Kimmel got mad and pretended to sue, or not pretended, but said he would sue. And then, again, gossip. But what's interesting about this is that ESPN actually came down on Pat McAfee and said, listen, you can't have Aaron Rodgers on the show anymore. And so Pat McAfee came on the show and said that he basically would not have Aaron Rodgers on. But then the next day, he had Aaron Rodgers back. And what's interesting to me is that ESPN basically got this deal with Pat McAfee, but they can't control him. He has too much power because they got Pat McAfee, who already had a YouTube show. He already has the power of the people. And it's like he can dictate the terms at ESPN. And that is just the power of the individual, of how they can't control him. Same thing with Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith is an employee of ESPN. But what's remarkable to me is that Stephen A. Smith can go on his own podcast and talk shit about Jason Whitlock and, have profanity. Like, ESPN is a Disney-run organization. Yeah. And then he can do that on his own platform. It's like both things to me are crazy. You have one hand somebody, ESPN, buying an entity from YouTube and putting that into their system, while you have somebody that's part of the system, like Stephen A. Smith, going off and creating his own show, and they can't control him either. You know what I mean? So both ways, they can't control him because they have the power of the people. And I think what we're starting to see, and this is just another example of it. Let me just continue to bring up examples that the power is that the individual has the power. The individuals will have more power than institutions, because power is like that. The people follow people.
Yeah.
Right? They're not just following the institution. And it's this trend is just continuing.
Yeah, I think it's becoming more and more apparent that regardless of who you're signed with, like your fans are always going to follow you.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of like YouTubers or just creators have like management and then something goes wrong and they're completely fine after because even if their management dropped them, they still have all their followers.
Totally.
Or most of.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I think, you know, if we go back to the dangerous idea is that, you know, developing your own niche, developing your own following is so powerful. And even like Stephen A. Smith, who's an employee, a longtime employee, and this is, I think, some advice that anybody working for somebody else could take is that no matter how long you've been working for somebody else, creating your own thing, creating your own IP, creating your own following, creating your own asset, creating your own skills outside of that organization is probably the best job security because no one can take that away from him.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think, you know, it's like you should always just bet on yourself, bet on your brand, build that up. Because you can see even ESPN, they can't dictate the terms for Pat McAfee or Stephen A. Smith. Like what Stephen A. Smith said about Jason Whitlock, I mean, it doesn't even matter. But the fact that he did it and the fact that he's an employee and he was swearing and just like, it was actually kind of gross to see. They can't do anything because he's like one of the biggest properties in ESPN.
Yeah.
And you like, it's just, that's just the trend. So you might as well get on it.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like the whole thing that happened with Don Cherry or whatever.
Yeah.
He got fired, but I would say majority of like what I saw was people mad that he got fired and he
100%.
still has all his followers. He still has all that.
But what is he?
He doesn't do anything with it now.
Yeah, he could do something with it.
He could so easily do something.
Yeah, definitely.
I just feel like he was ready to like...
Yeah, exactly.
retire. So
yeah, that is a great example. That's a fantastic example of using Don Cherry because obviously he's like, I don't know, he's like 90 years old, right? So, but if he started a pod, like it would be a huge pod because he's actually built for this era.
Yeah,
he's off the cuff. He's like opinionated. He's basically Pat McAfee. Mm-hmm. So, in this era, he would start a pod. In this era, or he would have started a pod or his own platform and still been on CBC.
Yeah,
it's a great. But I think this applies to anybody. Like if you are, you know, if you're in marketing, like how can you create like a PowerPoint deck with like top 10 marketing trends on marketing and put that on LinkedIn, right? If you're in real estate, usually real estate agents are their own sort of entrepreneur. But let's talk about Mason. Mason's your partner. He great guy, very tall. No, but we just actually chatted about this, right? Because he's in finance. He's in the world of financial services.
Yeah.
He could absolutely create his own brand when it comes to financial services and continue that.
Yeah, I think there are like a few more hoops he would have to jump through just because everything needs to be approved that he does.
Right.
And most of the time they won't approve creative projects like that, but I think he could probably find a way around it.
But I think also, let's say the organization that he works for doesn't allow him to take these creative content plays, right? Mm-hmm. He could start an event or he could bring like people together of like high net individuals and they could go like on a yacht or something like that. Like that's another way of like building influence that doesn't have to do with digital.
Yeah.
I don't think it just has to be digital.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a group chat like high net individuals or, you know what I mean? So like,
yeah.
No matter what you're doing, it's like that community that you're building, mm-hmm. even if it's offline, like that is power.
Yeah.
Right? 'Cause that's social capital in that's actually probably the best capital that you can build.
Yeah, definitely. Like even like starting like a coffee club or something like that.
Totally.
Just networking like through
there.
Yeah,
you went from yacht to coffee.
Yeah.
That's good.
I mean,
yeah.
Like
hey Mason, yeah, coffee club. Shawn said yacht club, you said coffee club. No, it's such an important thing, and that trend is just going to continue. And we talk about a million examples on here. I mean, every time we have this conversation, we talk about, we talk about what Logan Paul and KSI did with Prime. We talk about Kim and what she did with Skims. We talk about Mr. Beast and Feastables. We talk about Taylor Swift and how she's been running like the Eras tour and like going direct to cinema. Like she didn't go through like a middleman to do that. Beyonce did the same thing. It goes back to the idea that the individual has the power. It's the reason why I wrote the book, The Bold Ones. It's the reason why I left the firm, is because I saw that power shift happening, and it's just going to continue. It's funny because like I had this tweet that I wrote 4 years ago or 5 years ago, and I say, hey, I'm going to retweet this every year so people see it. Is that the power is with the individual, and I just keep retweeting examples of it. This is another example. So on this point, though, I want to bring up an idea of we've talked about it before, but it's really the idea that the superstar is dead. The superstar is dead. The idea that I believe that like Taylor Swift, the Drake, Ryan Reynolds. These are the last superstars that we're going to see. There are going to be some people that cross the chasm that people know, maybe. But for the most part, this is it. Mm-hmm. Because everything has been completely fragmented. Music is completely fragmented. The entire entertainment world, sports world, everything is fragmented. Everything is niche. And so what does that mean? I think it's even more important to create your own brand, because you're never going to reach you're not going to be the biggest star on the planet anymore. It's not possible.
Yeah.
And you have to build small. Like, I'm going to give you an example. Can you name somebody? Can you name an individual? Let's start with music, that could reach a Drake, Taylor Swift, like Beyonce level of global influence. I'll give you a roster right now, okay? You can pick anybody. SZA, Dua Lipa, Billie Eilish, Jack Harlow, Bad Bunny, Morgan Wallen. Who am I missing? Burna Boy. These are people that have come out in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Or like maybe 5 to 7 years.
I feel like out of that list, Billie Eilish might have the most potential, just because
Wrong
her
answer,
like.
but okay. Why?
I feel like her projects are used in so many like different ways. Like she's done a Kleenex commercial, she's done all these other things with songs, whereas I don't see anyone else really putting their music into the commercial space as well as like just putting it out.
I felt like Billie Eilish kind of peaked after COVID or during COVID.
That's what I'm thinking
now
too. I'm like, and if she doesn't put something new out, I don't think she's just gonna kind of fall a little bit off.
So so Billie Eilish could reach Taylor Swift level? Beyonce, Drake, Jay-Z?
I don't think anyone really could.
That's what I mean. I think the closest would be Bad Bunny, because Bad Bunny is global. Latin music is unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And just he could hit both English and Latin. You can see all the collaborations that Bad Bunny has with like existing artists, whether it's Drake or other folks. Yeah. Like, to me, that's the closest.
I feel like
or Jungkook or
maybe like a DJ like I don't know who does a lot of collabs now, like Diplo. He does a collab with almost everyone. Yeah. But I still don't think he's the main name. Yeah, Diplo is know. Like
post 10 years too, though.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true too. Right. Yeah.
He's post 10 years.
Yeah.
Diplo.
He's been around for a long time.
So that's what I mean. It's like, I gave you the roster of people. I don't think I missed anybody. SZA, Dua Lipa. Yeah. Like I'm saying in the last 5 years. Like I think like Ariana Grande. These people are like way past 10 years.
Yeah. Like, right. I think about when I was a kid, if I like heard something on the radio, most of the time I knew who it was by, just because it was always the same things. But now I turn on the radio, I'm like, everyone kind of sounds a little bit the same, and also I have no idea what's happening. Same with movies. I'm like, I don't know actors or actresses at all anymore.
Totally. So let's go to actors and actresses, which is actually harder, I think.
Yeah. I think
Name any.
I think the most
last 5 years.
recent one that I've seen a lot of is Jacob Elordi, just because he did
See, I have no idea. Who's that? Who's that?
Have you heard of the movie Saltburn?
Yeah.
He's in that, but he's not like the guy with the glasses. He's like the tall guy. He's also in Euphoria. He was just in Priscilla.
Okay, yeah.
Played Elvis. So I feel like he might be on like that kind of trajectory, but maybe not because you had no idea who he was.
I've never heard of him.
Yeah.
I think Joe Coy made a joke about him at the thing at the
I feel like I don't think
Golden
anyone's
Globes. No, it's hard. You can't pick one.
Yeah.
Like the only one in the last 5 years I would say is Timothée Chalamet, and I think he is a little bit past 5 years.
Yeah.
But
it's also hard for actors.
Like, does your mom know who Timothée Chalamet is?
Probably not.
Yeah, my mom would definitely not know.
Yeah, I think it's hard for actors too, is because most of them do start really young, but they don't get popular until a random project.
What do you mean?
I'm pretty sure Timothée Chalamet was a child actor first.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, but
that's not like most people. I'm just saying, like, if you look at the stars of like A-list stars, George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, Will Smith, like these are people that started in their 20s. Tom Hanks, Tom Cruise, they started like basically in their 20s, and they had that project and it went crazy. And partly is because we live in a fragmented media landscape.
Yeah.
So that it's so hard to, even if you had a breakthrough movie, like I don't think anybody would see it because we're so like, we're in our own TikTok channels, we're in our YouTube channels, like
there's just too much.
Look at Mr. Beast. Like Mr. Beast is the most popular. He's literally the most popular person on the most popular platform on the planet, yet no one knows who the hell he is. That to me is like where the world is going.
Yeah, it's funny because I was talking to some of my little cousins over Christmas, and they were showing me like their like TikTok feeds and things like this. I was like, I have no idea what you're watching, what you're talking about, any of like the jokey memes that they were saying. I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about, and I'm not that much older than you.
Right, so, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's just...
So it's like age. It's not only like your age demographic, but it's also just like, whatever's showing up on... What's ever showing up in your feed, right? And it's... okay, so you have to pick one, though. You're picking Billie Eilish as your star that could reach Taylor Swift, Beyonce level?
No, I think it might be Tate McRae.
Whoa!
Even though I don't listen to her.
Serious?
Even though I just have
Are
seen...
you serious right now?
Yeah, I've seen so many people saying she's like the next Britney Spears.
You're saying a 20-year-old girl from Calgary, Alberta, Canada is the next one?
I think so.
Are you doing this for clicks?
No, I swear, because she's like a triple threat. Like she can dance, she can sing, she knows how to like market herself because she's been doing it herself forever. Wow. And I wouldn't be surprised if she ends up becoming an actress at some point too.
Wow.
I just think...
Holy moly. Tate McRae. Hot take. Well, let me tell you, I love Tate McRae. Tate McRae, her music is awesome. My kids love Tate McRae. Well, they just like X's. They've just been jamming X's for the last week. They're like, Tate McRae, Alexa, play Tate McRae. Alexa, play Tate McRae. They love Tate McRae. They love her vibe. They love that she's a dancer. Like, she's got that thing. Like, she's cool, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think she also just appeals to, like, a pretty big audience. Like, she appeals to younger, but also, like, my age and probably people, like, older, too.
Out of everyone that I listed, I just want to go back to it.
I think so.
Jack Harlow, Dua Lipa, SZA, Bad Bunny, Burna Boy, Billie Eilish,
it's also
Lil Nas X, like
Tate McRae makes pop music. The rest of them, like
True.
some of them are different. Like Morgan Wallen, country. There's obviously a big audience, but a lot of people also hate country.
Yeah.
Or
That's true. That's true.
I guess Dua Lipa makes pop music too. But I don't know. I just think there's something about her.
Wow, that's incredible. I'm gonna go with Bad Bunny because of the Latin thing.
Yeah.
And I think Latin is a huge language, culture. I feel like, you know how hip hop has dominated over the last number of decades. And now hip hop is on the decline. And I think international Latin is on the ascent.
Yeah, it's funny because I find Latin music is the only like other language of music that a wide array of people listen to. Like I wouldn't say anyone's like, can I have a French playlist put on or
Right.
anything? Like,
well, the vibes is cool.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing that is interesting is K-pop, and like Jungkook from BTS is massive, and it's really interesting to see like my kids love K-pop. It's wild.
yeah,
Like you guys cannot understand. I mean, listen, with rap, they don't understand the music either.
yeah, like K-pop and like anime and like all of that. They're huge, just such a huge like culture that people like love.
Yeah.
I've never gotten into it, but I know like I would say at least half the people I went to high school with were super into like anime at the time. I don't think K-pop was as big then, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think, you know, my advice for anybody that is building a brand, building an organization, building a personal brand in this era of fragmented media is I believe that you have to like over deliver to a very small group of people, right? Because at the end of the day, I don't think anybody is going to, it's just so hard. We're just inundated with so much content and ideas and bleh. It's hard to keep up. So if you are on LinkedIn, if you're on TikTok, if you're a CFO and you have a little community, like double down and make those like really memorable, like touch and meet those people, deliver value, extraordinary value to a small number of people. I think that is how you're going to build a sustainable brand and career. It's not to like shoot for the masses. It's to make sure that you are over delivering, because the reality is that even in this, like, and I mentioned on this last pod, is like, you know, no one's really paying attention to you. It's so hard. Even your friends, like, they're not paying attention to you. They're not like following your stuff closely. They're just, everyone is just like swiping and like scrolling, and that's just life now.
Yeah.
Whether it is your friend, your mom, whatever, like we're just scrolling. Like my mom's stuff will come up on Facebook, and I love my mom, but like her stuff, like I will scroll past it. That's my mom. She like went out. She went to dinner. I'm like, okay, like I scroll past it. I'm not looking at it.
Yeah.
And same thing with her, with me. She scrolled past it.
Yeah, it's funny to always see like, you know how Facebook does those like memories things?
Yeah.
And you can see your old posts. It's funny to see that compared to now.
Wow.
What like we were posting about. And I'm like,
Totally.
just a completely different world.
We were writing on people's wall. Were you part of that era where we were writing?
Oh yeah, or like for TBH and things like those. Yeah, big thing. Like a to be honest.
Oh, okay. Yeah, got
Yeah.
it. You're writing like statuses?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
No, it is wild. So over deliver to a very small community of people. That's how you're going to do it. And I think if you're an artist, if you're a brand, if you're whatever, just do that because it's too hard.
Yeah.
Too hard. The game is too hard. Just don't wish you're going to be tailored. I also believe that even though we're saying this, the fragmentation of culture, that fragmentation of media, entertainment, that there is no superstars left, that we are going to be disproven too. That there is going to be somebody that is going to like cross the chasm, and they're going to do something or be somebody that everyone like knows, and they have to be radical and globally, like they got to do something nuts, right?
Yeah.
And it might happen. Like, I love it. I want it to happen. I just think that the majority of people, it's just not going to happen. Monoculture is so dead. It's just completely dead.
Yeah.
So we can't name a superstar.
Yeah,
Well, let's go to TikTok. I mean, I don't want to overplay this thing, but like, I'm going to give you 5 TikTokers. Who do you think out of any of these TikTokers will have a sustainable career? Cabby Lame, I think he's the most followed guy. He's the black guy that does like the black guy that does like, he does like simple things. See, that's what I mean. Bella Porch, I think either D'Amelios, Addison Rae, Justin Richards. That's like top. That's like the 6. I say.
I'm honestly don't know if any of them will, 'cause the only ones that I know are like the D'Amelios, Addison Rae, and Bella Porch, and I haven't seen anything from any of them in a long time. I know they're still putting stuff out, but
you haven't seen them on your feed. They're not on your For You page.
Not at all. I don't think they ever really were, but definitely not now.
You see Alex Earl?
Not as much anymore, no. I find I haven't really been seeing influencers as much on my TikTok anymore. I mostly just see like one-off videos or like...
So you know what's funny is like you told me that you were like watching Alex Earl. Maybe you told me this last year. Mm-hmm. Did you follow her podcast?
I don't follow it. I've seen a few episodes, but I don't follow it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I find with podcasts I like...
Dip in and out.
Yeah, depending.
Okay, so I'm going to give you another... So out of like... Okay, you said artist, Tate McRae. Mm-hmm. What about like digital influencer? Who are you picking as the next 10 years, like the biggest influencer? Mr. Beast right now has a lead, but who do you think is going to... Cody Ko?
I think Cody Ko is going to slow down now.
You know what I also think about? Like, I wonder if people are watching this and be like, how does Shawn Kanungo like know all this bullshit? Like, I thought he's like the innovation guy and like knows about technology. I'm like, to me, disruption is about culture. Yeah. It's about technology and it's about culture. And if you want to understand disruption, you have to understand culture, because that's actually 90% of what gets disrupted is culture. ChatGPT is great. It's a great technical innovation and a great technological innovation. But unless everyone around the world is using it, it's just a niche thing that no one is talking about. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So ChatGPT disrupted culture. So anyways, that's if you're wondering why I know like Bella Porch and Josh Richards and
I feel like for like content creators and stuff, now it's becoming harder to evolve that into like a full career in like that specific way. I think a lot more of them are making their own like talent companies or something after the fact, because like realistically, you're not going to want to put your life on YouTube for your whole life. Yeah. You're going to want to slow down at some point. So I think it's just shifting into another lane in that realm.
Okay, so I'm going to give you another hypothetical. Let's say you're the CEO of a company and it's a music company. Maybe it's a music, you guys have artists, you have concerts, events. It's an entire music related company. You're the CEO. Who are you hiring for your key roles as CEO? I'll go first. Okay. This is my like draft pick of who I'm hiring as like a 5, like all the key positions within the organization. Okay. Mm-hmm. Number 1, I'm the CEO. Number 2, okay, so the first hire that I would make is a chief revenue officer. And that person would be Taylor Swift, because she knows how to make money. Mm-hmm. Obviously, with the Eras Tour, incredible how she bullied her way into making that happen. She bullied her way in terms of re-recording her masters. She bullied her way of creating this incredible movie that bypassed the traditional distribution methods. Chief Revenue Officer, absolutely. Okay. Chief Marketing Officer, Lil Nas X. Lil Nas X, to me, is the best marketing He's a marketing genius. Okay. The way that he markets his songs, his videos, himself. If you see what he did in 2019 with Lil Old Town Road, basically this guy was on TikTok. He understands meme culture better than anybody. And he's been able to turn this career that you thought he was literally on his sister's couch, turned into a juggernaut, still relevant to this day. Lil Nas X, absolutely chief marketer. Like, he has a job. Okay. Chief financial officer, I'm going to give it to Russ. If you don't know who Russ is, he's like an independent artist.
I know Russ, yeah.
I think he's very savvy with his money. He doesn't overspend. I think just being an independent artist, you just learn a little bit more about finances. So Russ is my chief financial officer. Chief human resources officer, CHRO, or HR leader, DJ Khaled. DJ Khaled, I'll tell you why. Very positive, very good with people, gives flowers where flowers are due. You know, I want that energy. I want that energy from my HR leader coming in. He's got great energy. He understands how to deal with people. Everyone works with him. Like, from Jay-Z to Drake to, like, everyone loves DJ Khaled. No one except the Palestinians. Other than that, because he hasn't been vocal about what's going on in Gaza. Anyways, other than that, DJ Khaled, my CHRO. And then the last piece is the chief operations officer, the COO, basically running the operation. I think I'm going to give it to Drake. Now, the reason why I give it to Drake is because Drake, I think he's run a really tight ship. I think he has all the same people around him. He understands how to run an organization. He's been relevant for longer than almost anybody, at the top of his game. And no one's left him. Still has the same guy doing beats. Still has the same manager. Really has no beef internally within his ops. Other than, I think, with OVO and The Weeknd. I think that's the only blemish, to be honest with you. And that wasn't really a blemish. So COO is Drake. So that's my team. Taylor Swift, Chief Revenue Officer. Lil Nas X, Chief Marketing Officer. Russ, Chief Financial Officer. Chief HRO is DJ Khaled. Chief Ops is Drake.
Yeah. I feel like that's a pretty solid list.
Yeah. Anybody you'd add or take out?
I think I would add, do you know who Noah Khan is?
Noah Khan?
So he's like a folk artist, but he blew up on TikTok in 2020, made a song with his followers and released it. And then
what position is he going to get?
Probably marketing.
Underneath Lil Nas X. He'll be the marketing director. Okay, we're going to add him to the marketing director role.
Yeah, because he like wrote the song with all his TikTok followers, put out a whole album with it. It did really well, and then re-released the full album with big artist features on every single song.
Wow.
So he basically has two of the exact same albums, but with features on the second album, and he's just like taking off from there.
Okay.
So I think I would put him on the list somewhere.
Over Lil Nas X? Chief Marketing Officer? The creativity, the meme culture, the internet culture?
Yeah, maybe not over him, but definitely like somewhere in there.
You got to see the Lil Nas X video that he just dropped. It's called J Christ. This guy's just, he's on another level. Okay. Any other key roles? I don't know if I'm missing any roles here. CFO, CMO, COO, CEO.
Yeah, I think
we got it.
Might be it.
Chief Revenue Officer, no debate. Taylor Swift.
Yeah, definitely Taylor Swift. She.
CHRO, DJ Khaled.
Yeah, that's the one I'm not too sure about, but I don't know who I would put in there.
Yeah.
Maybe, like, I guess DJ Khaled makes sense. I just think
who's more lovable than DJ Khaled? Like, just name somebody. There's not a star more lovable. You can watch the guy. He's like, you gotta love him.
Yeah.
You gotta love him. He's just like,
yeah.
You know, he can be annoying, but that's what HR is.
Yeah, I remember his Snapchat days, like getting stuck on the jet ski. Like,
yeah, and guess what? He's actually a great role model because he's HR. He's taking off his shirt. He's doing crazy things, and like that's what you want an HR officer to. Oh, this is kind of a loose atmosphere. It's good energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. I thought that was like a really fun game to play. So lastly, I just want to touch on some like hot topics. Have you been following what's been going on with Stanley Cups? Not like the sport Stanley Cup.
Yeah, like the
but like the drink Stanley Cups. So it's had like a boom.
Yeah, so I know they got really popular last year. And then
there was this, I don't know if you saw this car, it was burned down, like this car like burned.
Oh yeah, but the Stanley survived.
The Stanley survived. And then Stanley came and I think they gave her a car.
Oh really? I didn't know that. I saw like they recently put out a Valentine's Day collab with like Target or something.
Oh, okay.
And the cups, like I feel like if you have a cup, you only need one cup, right? Like you don't need a whole collection of them, especially if they're $50 a piece. But people love to collect them. And so they brought out this collab, and they already have a pink and a red Stanley Cup, I'm pretty sure. But these ones had a tag, like a store tag.
Yeah.
And the store tag had a heart on it. And people were lined up around the Target for like 2 hours just to get their hands on this cup that had a heart tag that it's going to come off in the dishwasher the first time you wash it.
Wow.
So just like...
So what's going on? Like, it's nuts.
I think it's just like...
It's hype.
Yeah, it's hype, and it's like it's a status thing. People are like, oh, I need to have a Stanley. I can't be caught.
Are you noticing people have Stanleys? Like, that's not something that I notice.
I don't think they're at...
You bring a cup here often.
Yeah, I have it with me. It's a Hydro Flask, though.
You have a Stanley Cup?
No, it's Hydro Flask. It's different.
Okay.
Hydro Flask was really big in like 2019, I would say, and before then. And then
I think Yeti is like the market winner in this.
Yeah, I've heard of Yeti. I think Yeti. I've never seen someone using a Yeti that's not like over.
What's fascinating to me about this is that
a certain age.
Yeah. What's fascinating to me about this is that like we just love attaching status to the weirdest thing in the world. Like Stanley Cups. Come on. Are we kidding here?
Yeah, in like 2004.
Water
it was
cups.
Like True Religion jeans. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing that has been doing really well is Crocs. Now, Crocs used to be like ugly. And nobody wanted them. And now
made a crazy comeback. They made like these cowboy boot Crocs recently. And I think Stampede is going to be full of them. But I think they're doing well because they're doing collabs with like big, not necessarily companies, because they do a few a year with like Disney and things, but and maybe well, you're the producer, so unfortunately I can't ask you, but my belief is that the guy from Crocs, like one of their Lil Nas X guys, chief marketing officer, one of the marketing guys, actually went over to Stanley. I don't want to confirm that to be true, but I don't know if it's necessarily Crocs, but I know he came over from somewhere that was a successful, like just blew up.
Right, anyways.
I'm not sure what company it was, but I know it was something that was like really popular last year, and then he has like a golden touch, it kind of seems like.
Totally.
With it, yeah.
No, it's really fascinating how we just, as human beings, we just apply, we're searching for status. We'll be around the block at Target for I don't know what. Like, we're just so silly.
Yeah, I still don't really get the Crocs thing. Like I still think they're ugly. What are
other things that people are like? I don't know if it's just my like observation of the world, but I feel like aloe is like hot.
Yeah.
I feel like aloe, it's good quality, minimalist, Cali vibes. Like I just feel like aloe is it. Like Deepa has got so much aloe now, mostly because I'm like, before it came to Edmonton, I was like, yo, this is a hot brand out of like Cali. Like I got her some for her birthday, I think last year.
Yeah.
And now it came to Edmonton.
Yeah.
Now it's like,
it's crazy how, so my spin classes, it used to be all Lululemon. Now all aloe.
Wow.
Instructors and like the people taking the
This
class.
is the
It's
insight
all
that we
aloe.
need on the pod.
Yeah.
Inside information.
Like, I'm still wearing Lulu. Like, I obviously have some stuff from aloe, but like, I swear they replaced their entire wardrobe, took everything and threw it out and got all aloe. Like, my best friend, she has almost every single thing from the aloe store already in every color. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
What?
And she's like, yeah, I don't like Lulu anymore. But
Why?
Just
is it because of the DE&I stuff?
I think it's it's just the brand
just
name. It's like what's hot now.
I think Kylie, I follow Kylie on IG, and I feel like she's an aloe person.
Yeah, I know aloe.
She gave her a bag.
Yeah, aloe does a really good job with
Collabs.
influencers as well, because they like always invite people. They have like this huge gym facility somewhere in the States, and it's like just so aloe branded everywhere. You can't post a video there and not know that you're working out in aloe. So
I feel like the dangerous idea out of here is bringing up Crocs, Stanley, aloe, obviously hot brands right now. Is it appears that all of them are doing like interesting collabs and leveraging influencers or even other brands that, the X, just doing collabs. And it makes sense, right? You're garnering another audience by doing a collab, and it's smart.
yeah.
Like, I just feel like this is how you build brand. You attach yourself to an influencer or another hot brand, and you go from there.
Yeah.
So just do more collabs. And I've always, I got to do more collabs. You have to be like intentional about it. I feel like when it comes to collabs, you got to do more. I guess this is kind of collab. Like a pod is like a collab, right? But like more like, I'm trying to think about more like pitching a brand about a collab.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how we're doing all these brand deals?
Yeah.
Now we're talking inside shop. But like, what if we pitched an organization like Intuit or something? What if we pitched a collab between myself and like, I don't know, another influencer with them? It's like, it's like 3 collabs.
Yeah. I think that would work. I've seen Amazon doing things more so in the States with that. They do like, there's this Amazon The Drop like clothing line, and they always have different influencers on there, and then just like, I think it works, but it has to be the right fit. Otherwise it's kind of pointless.
Right. You know what? It's interesting. I see like all these like Louis, for example, Louis Vuitton got Pharrell to be their creative director for their like men's line. I feel that's really interesting because is it just men's or is it just everything?
I'm not too sure.
Anyways, I think that's like interesting too, right? Like they got somebody that was obviously culturally relevant like Pharrell, and LV is like one of the most, significant brands in history doing that. So I just feel like that's going to happen more and more, where like if I'm a hot brand, like, or if I'm not a brand, let's say I'm not a hot brand, I would just get like, okay, how do I get like Tate McRae as my new creative director?
Yeah.
How do I get Lil Nas X as my new creative director? Like, I think it's such a savvy move to get one of these culturally influential people to do that. Because let's be honest with you, if Pharrell makes an aesthetic, like right now, I think his first line was a very like, I would say chessboard or checkers kind of aesthetic. Is the aesthetic cool on its own, or is it cool because it's LV and Pharrell? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how do we decide if it's cool or not?
I don't think you can ever really truly decide, because there's always going to be that little bit of influence.
Exactly. Nothing is truly like on its own. You can't just look at something objectively and be like, I like that.
Yeah.
Everything is kind of pushed to you in a way. So I guess what I'm saying is that if I'm like name a brand, like I'm trying to think about a brand that's like, I'm looking around here. Like, if you're like, and I guess this is what brands do, right? They get an influencer. I just think that it's going to happen more and more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm just trying to think. You said Tate McRae's the next one. I'm like, how can we get Tate McRae something?
Yeah. It's also, it's like what's stopping those people with that influence from just creating their own thing at the same time.
Yeah, that's true too. But there has to be something to be said about good product, right? I think you need an elegant integration between creator and product.
Yeah.
Right? LV works because they have great product. Pharrell works because he's a great influencer. Prime works because Prime is actually a good product. I love Prime. And it adds that Logan Paul and KSI are great marketers.
Yeah.
But I like look at Mr. Beast. Oh, we had Mr. Beast burger.
Yeah.
We had that burger.
Yeah.
It sucked.
Yeah.
And guess what? Even though Mr. Beast is the biggest person on the planet, the burger sucked. And guess what? It folded. They're like suing each other.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So the product has to be good.
Yeah.
So that's why it's not that seamless.
Yeah, because I guess you also like probably don't have as much time to make it like the best it could be when you're already that busy, right?
Yeah. But in that sense, I think like I think the next $1 billion business is Kylie Jenner's next business, which is Kai.
Kai. Yeah.
Watch. Prediction here, January 2024, Kai's become a $1 billion business.
Yeah, I think she made a big turnaround from the whole fiasco with Kylie Swim that happened.
Swim?
Yeah,
what
she had so she had a Kylie Swim line. It was a few years ago probably. And apparently
it was see-through?
It was like some of it was see-through. It was just really, really bad quality. Like you really couldn't swim in it. And so got shut down like right away. And then I saw when she brought out Kai, a lot of the first reviews were like, I'm scared because Kylie Swim was so bad. But then she completely turned it around, which is
really
like obviously doing well for her.
I feel like Kai is kind of like an elevated, it's like more of like a upscale Fashion Nova.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah?
I think that's her style. Like I think like
Okay.
I think now, Fashion Nova is like Kardashian circa like 2016.
To me, Fashion Nova is like Walmart Kardashian.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree.
And their branding, I find it hilarious. Like, they're very much into the baddie thought kind of era, right? I'm not saying it's bad. I love looking at Fashion Nova. I mean, God bless. I mean, whoever's wearing Fashion Nova, God bless. I think I have Fashion Nova men too.
Yeah.
But, whoever's wearing Fashion Nova, they do a great job. I don't know if the product is good or not, but they're doing a great job. I see Fashion Nova ads all the time. They're corny as hell.
Yeah.
But they look good.
Yeah.
But I feel like Kai is like a Fashion Nova. You follow Kai?
I don't follow them, but I've seen like,
Okay.
I saw like their whole first line come out. I don't know what they have out now, but yeah.
I can't believe If you're following this and you're like, what the fuck is Shawn doing with his life? How does he know all this shit? Just like culture. Kai is the next January 2024. Kai is the next $1 billion business. It's undeniable. The product looks good. I can see it already. Kylie's an unstoppable creator. She's young.
Yeah.
She's modern. Girls follow her. She's dating Timothy Chalamet. And the product is really good. The marketing is good. You got the Kim empire behind her. Like, it's unstoppable. Kai.
Yeah. It's interesting how
KHY.
in the Kardashians, like which sisters' businesses do better than the other.
Yeah.
Because like Khloe has Good American, which I think does really well, but not as well.
Right.
And then Kourtney has Poosh or whatever, which I don't really know what that is, but.
What does Kendall have?
I don't know. Oh, she has her tequila, 818.
Okay.
Which,
that's a miss.
Yeah.
That's not a good integration. See, I think what Kylie and Kim have done really well is they've leaned into them.
Yeah.
Like Skims and Kim makes total sense.
Yeah.
I could totally see it. Kylie and like lip stuff, makeup, like to me that makes sense.
Yeah.
Kai and Kylie, that to me that makes sense. That's like it's like a elevated luxury Fashion Nova.
Yeah. I think if Kylie was like more, or Kendall was more of like a party girl, then like if she was like Paris Hilton or something, it would have maybe done better as like the tequila brand.
Oh yeah, no, Kendall needs like a book club.
Yeah,
I feel like Kendall is more of like
she needs to like do like an equestrian like line or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's gonna be hiring you as chief marketing officer. Absolutely, Kendall Jenner equestrian polo wear, like totally disrupting Ralph Lauren. Fuck, that you're on it. That is the greatest. You're coming up with bars today. That is awesome.
Yeah, there is like another brand that's like that.
What?
I don't know what it's exactly called. I want to say it's like Spiegelman Stables or something, and it's like
sounds familiar. Yeah.
Like kind of cool, but equestrian vibe. So I feel like if she did that, but with her name attached,
hey, if you're an equestrian brand, you got to get Kendall Jenner.
Yeah.
It makes sense. She's like good looking, like non-controversial, like to me the most like status, like the most, I would say the less, I don't know. Yeah. This makes sense. Fuck, what a great idea. I'm like thinking about this idea. I don't know why. Anyways, okay. Amazing, dangerous ideas. Pods, rate, review, subscribe, follow, whatever you got to do this pod. I want to thank Niamh for dropping a whole bunch of bombs today. And we'll see you guys on the next one.